Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today for Faces of First Year with the First Year Experience Program here at Pima Community College. If we have not met already, I am Renee Forsyth, the program developer for the First Year Experience Program. And today we are featuring scholarships so that you can learn all that there is to know about scholarships here at Pima Community College. And with me, I have Robert Ramirez from the Scholarships Office. So I'm going to let you tell us a little bit more about who you are and why our first year students should know you and what it is that you do here at Pima.
Thank you, Renee.
Yeah.
And my name is Robert. Like Renee said, I work in the Pima College Financial Aid and Scholarships Department, and I've been working here for 12 years at Pima College. I'm a graduate of Pima College. I transferred to NAU, and I graduated there. So I know a tremendous amount about community college navigation and how to just be a first-year student and some of my own experiences. And I oversee the scholarship program, so I can share with you how to look for scholarships, what scholarships are best fitted for you, and what are the tips and tricks and the secrets of learning or winning scholarships.
Nice. So what is one key thing that you think first year students should know when it comes to scholarships, especially scholarships and the process here at Pima?
I would say the one key thing is deadlines. Most students miss a scholarship because they weren't prepared for that deadline. They didn't know what the scholarship was requiring. They didn't know what they needed to prepare in order to apply for that scholarship. Maybe they needed a letter of recommendation. Maybe they needed to upload a transcript, or maybe they just didn't have enough time to write that good paragraph and answer those scholarship questions because they just didn't have enough time to actually think about it and prepare. How are you going to answer those questions of why you deserve a scholarship?
So if they're applying for a scholarship here, what tends to be, what should they expect to be part of what's recommended or the application process? You mentioned a resume, you mentioned that letter of referral, what else?
I would say to get ready to fill out the application is you want to make sure that you know what kind of student you are. Are you an academic merit student? Are you looking for scholarships in athletics? Are you looking for scholarships that are very specific to your program of study, maybe nursing, for example? And you kind of want to attack it like you would your resume. You start to kind of build these really strong objective statements of why do I deserve this scholarship? How do I prove in words that academically or through my community and my leadership that I've deserve this scholarship, and provide that with the evidence to support it. So I always try to associate it with like that job search where you're building this portfolio of who you are as a student, that self-exploration to kind of identify like what kind of scholarships am I going to go for? What kind of scholarships am I matched up for that are more probable for me to get? You know, not just possible. You know, what's that probable? So I think that I like to associate it to that when I do that reference.
Well, that helps with, such a common complaint of scholarships are like looking for a needle in the haystack.
Right.
It takes out looking for, through the whole hay field, that identifying which haystack is most likely to find that needle.
That's a great point. And when they ask for that strategy, what strategy of attacking it, I always say start local.
Yes.
You want to start local because that breaks it down into a high competitive, low competitive. Local is low competitive. You're not competing with students out of state, so to speak. High competitive is probably a national scholarship. You're going to be competing with university students. So always start local with the Rotary clubs, the Elk Lodges, your mom and dad's work, your church, businesses, the hospitals, and things like that, especially businesses geared towards your education program and where you're headed towards there.
So when is your resource open and available to students? You had mentioned deadlines earlier.
Yeah. So when I mentioned deadlines, when it's open it's open all year, but the catch-22 to that is the peak season of scholarships is February through April. Those 3 months, the largest amount of dollars are allocated, awarded. They're they're dished out to students during those months throughout the whole year. There are scholarships open all year long, but those 3 months right there are what you would call like the peak scholarship award season, where you want to make sure you're applying in those buckets are there, because that's where the biggest pots of money are going to be.
So for a student right now where it's May, have they missed all deadlines? What could they be doing right now?
Yes, we do have some deadlines. We have an upcoming big deadline, so to speak, a major deadline of June 15th. So we have a lot of scholarships that come from our foundation office, and a lot of those have all been marked with the same deadline of June 15th.
Okay.
The foundation would like to be able to get all their funds allocated by then, which is great because it's later than the April date. So there's still time.
Yeah. Students
can still get in there and apply for those scholarships. And also when they get in there and apply for them, as we get scholarships, maybe we get an email or you get someone, a visitor coming in with a scholarship flyer. And after we kind of vet it and we decide that it's a credible source, that it's something we want our students to go after or that they can use here, we put those up on our scholarship website, where you can go online and access those.
And like you were saying, for some of the scholarships that are more competitive or the bigger lump sums, are those ones that the students should maybe start working on now? Are those going to be more involved where they require more of the students, so they should start working on hustling up the stuff now?
Yes, definitely now, especially for some of those like All Arizona Academic Team scholarships, where that's a 2-year tuition waiver to any of the 3 universities in the state from PIMA. So every year we award 12 students, 2 from each campus, the All Arizona Academic Scholarship. And that scholarship, you want to be preparing at least a year out. You want to be building that portfolio of leadership experience, community service, letters of recommendation, that GPA, making sure that GPA is there.
You're working on that.
And as well as any of those other small details of maybe you need to be transferring to a university so you need to be ready to transfer to a university.
Yeah.
You got to have all your credits in place there. Yes, you got the GPA, but you're not ready to transfer here yet. So there's also some of those small details once you start getting into those bigger transfer scholarships or those 1-year, 2-year scholarships where they're covering all your tuition. You want to make sure that you stay on top of those other minor details.
For sure, that makes sense. So where is your resource located at? If a student wanted to start this process, take a look and see what scholarships are available, where do they begin?
Online.
Okay.
pima.academicworks.com.
Okay.
And you log in with your My PIMA login credentials, your PIMA login.
Yeah.
You could also access it through your My PIMA portal as a student. So once you become a PIMA student, you have access to all of our scholarship database system. And our scholarship database system is in its 2nd year. And what we've done is we import your student profile from our system. So we match you up with scholarships that are best fitted for you. And we automatically recommend those to you to try and make that searching process to cut down that work as much as possible.
Again, you're matching them to the haystack.
We're trying our best
I love that.
to filter out as much of that hay as we can for them and get them to that needle.
So good. And then if they had follow-up questions, is there a best email for them to maybe send out to you guys?
Yes, Renee, scholarships@pima.edu. That's the best. That's our email. That's the best way to get a hold of us. And you can email us any of your questions, or if you want to just ask for some follow-up information or something I spoke about today for me to clarify on that, please do email with us. We'll be happy to share all of our resources.
Cool. So then once a student is awarded their scholarship, who can they follow up with and talk to about that award money?
Oh, excuse me. They can come to any campus and follow up with the financial aid office at that point. Once you've been awarded the scholarship, it's on your PIMA account. Come to the PIMA financial aid office at any campus and ask them how does that work out with the rest of your financial aid package. And we'd be happy to sit down with you and to go over your entire financial aid package just to break that down for you so you're aware of what you're getting and who you're getting it from,
Yeah.
and then you could follow up with those people as well. So a lot of students like to send thank you letters
Oh, that's so good.
to their donors they really appreciate it. It means a lot to them, and the donors love to receive them as well.
Absolutely. And so those financial aid advisors are located in all of the student service centers at each campus, and they're available during the student services times, and are also available. You can contact them basically any way you would contact financial aid. And so I'll make sure that the link is available for the financial aid contact after this broadcast. So why would you say it's important for a first-year student to check out scholarships and use scholarships?
I would say it's very important for the first-year student to do it because it sets the tone for that student for earning future scholarships. They're able to start to set the goals for some of those big scholarships on what do I need as far as my GPA.
Mm-hmm.
And that just helps to reinforce a student of babysitting that GPA and understanding how critical and important that is. I always equate the GPA to like that personal credit score.
Yeah.
A GPA tells you a story when on paper alone. You know, you see a GPA, it tells a story.
That's so true.
You know, so it sets the tone. You first get in here to actually learn about scholarships, learn how to apply for scholarships, start to learn about what kind of scholarships you're going to be pursuing, matched up for. Am I the merit student? Am I the student that needs to go after Native American scholarships? Am I the student that needs to go after nursing scholarships,
Mm-hmm.
transfer scholarships? And so it's really important for first-year student to get into that habit
Mm-hmm.
of looking up scholarships every year,
Mm-hmm.
identifying which ones that they might be qualified for, and working towards that scholarship and calendaring it out and getting in there in time, making sure that you're prepared and you don't miss those deadlines.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, I feel like, this is teaching so many important skills, like you were saying, time management, goal setting, organization. But one key thing that I hadn't thought about until we started talking was that important aspect that we learn when we go through college, which is just identity and self-exploration, which you don't learn it until you really start going through it. And when you think about scholarships, you think, okay, this is all about the paper and just getting some money to pay for school. But when you have to start talking about who you are,
right,
to be awarded this money,
mm-hmm.
or like you said, identifying which haystack to go after,
mm-hmm.
To make it more probable, and really identifying who you are and is the best match. That's a really interesting part, benefit of this process.
Absolutely. It goes along with being a college student. Like, what are those skills, those intangible skills of navigating college and being successful in college, completing and earning that degree, is learning what are my goals? Can I express those? Can I write about that in 500 words or less?
Articulate it.
Can I articulate why I deserve this goal? And a lot of times that self-reflection has so many benefits for a college student by just going through the scholarship process, search process, application process. And that is why I think it's good for a first-year student to do that, because there's some added benefits of starting to look at yourself, objectively, academically. Why do you deserve these scholarships? And sometimes you start to read these descriptions and the criterias and the parameters for these scholarships, and it starts to build that framework for you to think about, like, okay, I need to get to these next levels of my academic, or being articulated enough and being able to answer these questions about what am I going to do with this scholarship? Why do I deserve it more than the next student?
Absolutely. Well, and like you said, also so often they're building a portfolio, or a resume is also required. So that's also an added benefit, because they're also preparing for if and when it comes time to apply for a job or prepare for the interview.
Oh yeah, it's a copy and paste at that point for students. After a year or two of searching, winning, getting them, applying for them, figuring it all out, it becomes a cut and copy and paste type process where you just have this bank of these paragraphs or sentences of who you are, what you've done, what you've accomplished. And you're right, that's great for resume, for interviews, when you're talking about them. And in an interview, they say, like, what have you done? What did you do? What have you done? And you're able just to talk about it because you've been writing it down and rewording it, rephrasing it for different groups or different, customizing it for whatever it is you're going after. And
like you said, it'll make you competitive.
Yeah, oh yeah, it makes you, definitely will help you be more competitive.
For sure. All right, so our last question, and if you've watched any of our other videos from the series, our viewers will not be surprised by this question, but it's one that I like to ask just so that we can get an idea of a different way to think about the resource. So here's the question. How would you describe your resource as if it were, and today we're going to ask about it, as if it were a game show?
Okay.
So if scholarships were a game show, what game show would it be and why?
I would say it's kind of like Jeopardy, because when you're going and you're searching for scholarships, you may get a category, you come across it, and you just know nothing about this category. All the scholarship questions are popping up, and you're like, I can't answer that, I can't answer that, I can't answer that, I can't answer that.
Mm-hmm.
And then you keep searching, and you go through this self-exploration process. You start to develop what kind of student you are, and then you come across a category, and you're like, oh, I got this. I'm gonna go ahead and let me get the next category. I got this one too because I've been preparing now. I know what I'm gonna get because this is the kind of work I've been doing.
Yeah.
And I know that. So I would say maybe Jeopardy if I had to do a game show.
I like it. And in both, you win money in the end.
Right? Yes.
For sure.
You're gonna win. You're gonna benefit. Yeah, you're gonna benefit. There's no losing. Scholarship searching for sure.
I love it. Well, thank you so much, Robert.
Thank you.
If you guys have any questions, do not hesitate to drop them in the comment box below. I will make sure to, if I can't answer them, to shoot them over to Robert. Or like he said, you are also welcome to email them directly to scholarships@pima.edu. I will also make sure to post the different ways that you can contact them through their website. And so thank you so much for joining us today. As always, check us out on our Facebook page for other upcoming topics and sessions that we'll be featuring for important resources to get to know and the faces to meet through Faces of First Year. Otherwise, have a great weekend.
Bye.
Bye.